Exodus 26. Moreover, you are to make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine woven linen of blue, purple, and scarlet, with cherubim made by the work of a skillful craftsman. The length of each curtain is to be 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains are to have the same measure. 5 curtains are to be coupled together one to another, and the other 5 curtains are to be coupled one to another. Also make loops of violet on the edge of the one curtain that in the outermost of the first set, and do likewise within the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the second set. You are to make 50 loops in the first curtain and 50 loops from the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops are to be opposite one another. Then make 50 clasps of gold and couple the curtains to one another with the clasps so that the tabernacle may be one piece. You are to make curtains of goat hair for a tent over the tabernacle, 11 curtains in all. The length of each curtain is to be 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains are to have the same measurements. You are to couple 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves, and double over the 6th curtain in the forefront of the tent. Then make 50 loops on the edge of one curtain that is outermost in the first set, along with 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the second set. Make 50 bronze clasps, put them into the loops, and couple the tent together so that it may be one. As for the overhanging part that remains of the tent curtains, the half curtain that remains is to hang over the back of the tabernacle. The extra cubit on one side, as well as the cubit on the other side, which remains in the links of the curtain of the tent, is to hang over the sides of the tabernacle on each side to cover it. You are to make a covering of the tent of ram skin, dyed red, and a covering of sealskin above. You are to make the framework of boards for the tabernacle from acacia wood, standing upright. The length of each board is to be 10 cubits by 1.5 cubits wide. There are to be 2 supports in each board, joined to one another. Do this for all the boards of the tabernacle. You are to make the 20 boards for the south side of the tabernacle, and 40 silver bases underneath the 20 boards. 2 bases go underneath one board for its support, and 2 bases under the another board for its support. Likewise, for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side, there are to be 20 boards, with their 40 bases of silver. 2 bases go under one board, and 2 bases under the next board. For the back of the tabernacle westward, you are to make 6 boards. Make 2 boards for the corners of the tabernacle on the back side. They are to be doubled at the bottom, and in the same way joined at the top by the first ring. It is to be this way for them both, and they will provide for the 2 corners. There will be 8 boards with 16 silver bases, 2 bases under each board. Also make crossbeams of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 for the boards in the back part of the tabernacle to the west. The middle crossbeam at the center of the boards will pass through from end to end, then overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings from gold as holders for the crossbeams, and overlay the crossbeams with gold. You are to raise up the tabernacle according to the plan which you were shown on the mountain. Make a fine woven linen curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet with cherubim. It is to be the work of a skillful craftsman. You are to hang it on the 4 pillars of acacia, overlaid with gold, their hooks being made of gold. Atop 4 bases of silver, you are to hang the curtain under the clasps and bring the ark within the curtain of the testimony. The parquet will divide for you between the holy place and the holy of holies. Then you are to put the atonement cover on the ark of the testimony in the holy of holies. You shall set the table of the curtain and the menorah opposite the table of the side of the tabernacle toward the south. You are to put the table on the north side for the entrance of the tent. Also make a screen of blue, purple, and scarlet, finely twisted linen, the work of a color weaver. You are also to make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia and overlay them with gold. Their hooks are to be made of gold, and you are to cast 5 bases of bronze for them. Chapter 27, Exodus 27. Make the altar of acacia wood 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. The altar will be square, and its height is to be 3 cubits. Make horns in the 4 corners of one piece, overlaid with bronze. You are to make pots for it to take away ashes, along with shovels, basins, forks, and fire pans. Make all the utensils of bronze. Also make a bronze great net for it, and on the net you are to make 4 bronze rings in the 4 corners. You are to place it under the ledge or on the altar beneath, so that you may reach it halfway up the altar. Make poles for the altar halfway up the altar. Make poles for the altar, poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with bronze. Its poles are to be put into rings on the 2 sides of the altar for carrying it. You are to make it with planks so that it is hollow, as it has been shown to you in the mountain. They are to make it just so. You are to also make a courtyard for the tabernacle. For the south side, there are to be hangings for the courtyard of finely twisted linen, 100 cubits long. There are to be 20 pillars with 20 bronze bases, and the hooks in the pillars along with their bands are to be made of silver, likewise for the north side. In length there are to be 100 cubit long hangings, 20 pillars and 20 bronze bases. The hooks of the pillars and their clasps are to be made of silver. Now for the width of the courtyard on the west side there are to be 50 cubits of hangings, 10 pillars and 10 bases. The width of the courtyard on the east side is to be 50 cubits. The hangings on the south, on the one side of the gate, are to be 15 cubits, with 3 pillars and 3 bases. For the other side there is also to be 15 cubits of hangings, with 3 pillars and 3 bases. For the gate of the courtyard there is to be a 20 cubit curtain of blue, purple, scarlet, and finely twisted linen, the work of a color weaver, along with their 4 pillars and their 4 bases. The pillars of the courtyard are to be banded together with silver. Their hooks of silver and their bases of bronze all around. The length of the courtyard is to be 100 cubits and the width 50 throughout. The height is to be 5 cubits with hangings of finely twisted linen with their bronze bases. All the articles of the tabernacle for all the services there, along with the pegs, including all the pegs of the courtyard, to be bronze. You are to command Bnei Israel that they are to bring to you pure olive oil beaten for the light, to cause a lamp to burn continually. In the tent of meeting outside the curtain which is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons will set it to order to burn from evening to morning before Adonai. It will be a statute forever throughout the generation on behalf of Bnei Israel. Chapter 28. Bring your brother Aaron near with his sons from among Bnei Israel, so that they may minister to me as a Kohanim. Aaron and his sons Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. You are to make holy garments for your brother Aaron, for splendor and for beauty. You are to speak to all who are skilled, whom I have filled with the spirit of artistry, to make Aaron's garments for me, consecrating him, so that he may minister to me as a Kohen. These are the garments that they are to make: a breastplate, an ephod, a robe, a tunic of checkered work, a turban, and a sash. They are to make holy garments for your brother Aaron and his sons, that they may minister to me as a Kohen. They are to use the gold, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. They are to make the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and finely twisted linen, the work of the skillful craftsman. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces stitched together to the 2 ends, so that they may be joined together. The skillfully woven bandages upon it, with which it is to be bound, is to be made like the design, and in the same piece of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and finely twisted linen. You are to take 2 onyx stones and engrave on them the names of Bnei Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in the order of their birth. With the work of a gem cutter, engraving a seal, each 2 stones in the order of the names of Bnei Israel. Make them enclosed in settings of gold. Fasten the 2 stones upon the shoulder piece of the ephod, to be memorial stones for Bnei Israel. So Aaron is to bear their names before Adonai on his 2 shoulders as a reminder. Fashion filigree settings of gold, along with 2 chains of pure gold of braided work, and you will attach the chains to the filigree settings. Make a breastplate of judgment, the work of a skillful craftsman. You are to make it like a design of the ephod, of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and finely twisted linen. It is to be square and doubled over, a span in length and a span in width. Set within it 4 rows of jewels, a row of ruby, topaz, and emerald for the first row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond for the second row, a jacinth, and an agate and an amethyst for the third, and a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper for the 4th row. They are to be enclosed in gold filigree settings. These stones are to be engraved in the order of the names of Bnei Israel's 12 according to their names, like the etchings of a signet seal, one corresponding to each of the name of the 12 tribes. Also, you are to make upon the breastplate braided chains of wreath work from pure gold. Forge in the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and fasten the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. Then attach the 2 wreathed chains of gold on the 2 rings at the end of the breastplate. The other 2 ends of the chains you are to place on the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod in front. You are to make 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the edge of it that is toward the inner side of the ephod. Also make 2 gold rings and place them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath in the front, close to where it is joined above the artfully woven band of the ephod. Then they will bind the breastplate by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a blue thread, so that it may be on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and so that the breastplate will not come loose from it. Aaron will bear the names of Bnei Israel on the breastplate of judgment on his heart whenever he enters the holy place as a continual memorial before Adonai. Also put the Urim and the Thummim within the breastplates of judgment, so that they will be on Aaron's heart when he goes before Adonai. Aaron will bear the judgment of Bnei Israel in his heart before Adonai continually. You are to make the robe of the ephod entirely blue. It is to have a hole for the head in the center, and a binding of woven work around the hole's collar, so that it may not be torn. On the hem of it you may make You are to make pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet all around the hem, with golden bells between them. One golden bell and a pomegranate, then another golden bell and a pomegranate, and the hem of the robe all around. It must be worn by Aaron, who whenever he ministers, the sound will be heard, and he goes into the holy place before Adonai when he comes out, so that he does not die. Also, you are to make a plate of gold and engrave on it like the engravings of a seal, holy to Adonai. Attach it with a violet cord unto the turban, on the front of the turban, so it will rest on Adonai's forehead, so that Aaron will bear away the iniquity committed regarding the holy things, which Bani Israel set apart as their holy gifts. It is always to be on his forehead, so that they might have favor before Adonai. You are to weave the tunic in checkered work of fine linen. Make a turban of fine linen and make a sash, the work of the color of a color weaver. For Aaron's sons you are to make tunics, sashes, and headwear for them, for splendor and for beauty. Put them on Aaron your brother and on his sons with him, and anoint them, consecrate them, and sanctify them, so that they may minister to me as Kohanim. You are to make linen undergarments for them to cover the skin of their nakedness from hips to thighs. They are to be worn by Aaron and his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they approach the altar to minister in the holy place, so that they do not become subject to guilt and die. It is to be a statute forever to him and to his offspring after him.